I want to first of all appreciate Mentor Goodness. She's an amazing woman, an amazing educator, amazing teacher. I've experienced her. I appreciate you for this opportunity to be speaking to other educators this afternoon. And to everyone that is here, wonderful and amazing teachers, welcome to the Exceptional Teachers Conference. I'm here this afternoon to share with you on the topic, the teacher, a co-creator with God. My name is FRANCA Atokolo. Well, I'll just go ahead and engage us. Our time is fast spent, but we trust that I'll be able to share some inspiring and interesting content with you this evening that you can take with you. Okay, so I'd like by starting to share my story. There was a time in my life when I had a negative mindset concerning teachers. I thought that being a teacher was signing up for failure in life. There was a time I got an admission when it was time for me to go to school. I was admitted into the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria to study education, but I turned it down and rather opted for a BSc. And the simple reason was that teachers are poor, teachers have a low status in society, teachers have a low pay in society, they are not rewarded, they are not appreciated. And so I had that negative mindset about teachers and about teaching. We all have the tendency to see teachers as rewarded. We have that tendency to see teachers as unimportant, and teaching as an ignoble profession, people that are ignored in society, and so we don't want to have anything to do with them. If you're listening to me this evening, I would like to ask you, have you ever been or has there been a time when you thought that, teachers were not rewarded in the society? And perhaps you're even listening to me right now and you still think the same way, that teachers are not rewarded, they are not appreciated, it is a low status profession, or it is a low paying profession. And I look around, I see a lot of discussion and conversation about how teachers, administrators don't appreciate teachers. All of that negative narrative is going around and affecting teachers on the job. But as the days went by into weeks and months, I realized that what I was thinking was not necessarily the truth. I came in contact with our purpose and meaning became clearer to me, and I discovered that, I was a teacher and I loved teaching after all. Later in life, I regretted not going for that degree in education. I came to realize that teaching is a noble profession. Teaching is not just a noble profession, I think that is even the noblest of all profession. If you agree with me, I want you to type yes in the session. And if you have been where you were thinking, you had those negative thoughts about teaching, and maybe probably you still have the same thought, you can just share in the comment section. But you see, what I'm trying to drive at as I go into my talk this evening is that, teaching is a profession that should be held in high esteem because of the role that a teacher plays. You see, the professions that we give so much value to are professions like lawyers, doctors, engineers. But the question you need to ask is, who taught the lawyer, the doctors, and the engineers to become who they are today? The answer is teachers. So there can't be a child without a mother. Every child has a mother. However, every child has a mother. So I want to say that a teacher is the mother of all professions. a teacher is the mother of all professions. If you take a panoramic view of your classroom right now, all the children that are in your classroom, every child represents a profession that would materialize in the future. Each and every one of those children rather, will grow up to become doctors, engineers, IT experts, pastors, nurses. Think about it. So a teacher is the mother of all professions. Without the teacher, we can't have other professions. You see how important your profession is. You see how important you are. And so if tonight I'm able to shift your mindset, bring about a change in your mindset to think differently and positively about your job, I would have played, my role here. If you can see better tonight than you're seeing presently, I would have done my job here. We despise the teaching profession, and I think that's the number one problem or the number one challenge of having poor quality or effective teachers in school, because our mindset is everything. Your mindset is everything. My husband will say mindset is called mindset because it's the setting of the mind. Once your mind is set, it sets every area of your life. So the way you teach, how you approach the teaching profession, what you do while you teach, how enjoyable it is to you, depends on how you're thinking or what you're thinking about your job. That's where I want to begin from. But then I want to share with you the significance of your role as a teacher. You see, you are so important, very important. I can't overemphasize the fact that you are very important as a teacher. As a woman of faith, it is humbling and honoring for me to discover that our Lord Jesus Christ was a teacher. It was with the teaching tool that he facilitated his mission and his ministry here on earth. Through teaching, he was able to transform lives from ordinary to extraordinary, from nobodies to somebodies. If you're a Christian here, permit me, you have read the Bible, you understand what I'm saying. You must have seen a lot of stories of how people became moved from nothing to something, from grace to grace, when they encountered Jesus. In the Bible, he was referred to as rabbi. Rabbi means teacher. And teaching was his primary role. It was what he used to facilitate his mission on earth. I mean, the greatest man that ever lived was a teacher. That is so humbling and so very good. I mean, so interesting for me to know. And so I want to say to you that as a teacher, you are important. You are as important as the life of the children that you have oversight. You have oversight over. You are as important as their life. Life is important, right? Life is important. And as I was thinking, I just thought that a teacher is as important as the life of that child. If you think about it, you would understand what I'm saying. I can't see my slide anyway. I don't even know what is happening backstage, but I hope that you can hear me. I hope you're following, but I'm not seeing my slide for me to follow the slides. Mental goodness, can I get a feedback from you, please? Okay, I hope you're following. I hope you're hearing. I really don't know what is happening, but I hope you're following. And I can't read the chat session as well. But let me just go on. So I said a teacher is as important as the life of that child. You are that important. You are the very, you actually hold the answers to that child's life, and you must understand that you are that important. A teacher is a gift to their students. If you decide to be an effective teacher, you are a gift to your students. The power of an effective teacher is to create real change. You see, using Jesus as a prototype, I said he used teaching to transform lives. In the same way, you have transformative powers through the way you positively affect your student's life. You have transformative powers. You have transformative powers through the way you positively affect your student's life. You have the power to positively guide the path of their future. And with this power comes great responsibility. With this power that you have comes great responsibility. And in my slide, I underline the word responsibility. So first of all, you have to understand that, your profession is not as bad as you think it is. You have to also understand that, whatever the narrative is about teaching, there is the power in that role. There is so much value and importance about your role as a teacher, about the job that you do. And like we always say here, that a teacher is never rewarded. I don't believe in that. A teacher is rewarded. It's just that maybe the reward does not come the way you anticipate it. You are that important. You are so important as a teacher. And then I want to go on to talk to you about the significance of your role and what it really means. Okay, the significance of a teacher's role. I've mentioned all of this. Yeah, a teacher is a mentor and a role model. And I said, if you can see better, you will do better. The reason why you are not doing well as a teacher is because you can't see better. You don't understand your role. You don't understand what you're doing, how important your job is, and that's why you may not be doing well on the job. But once you understand that you are important and valuable, and that you are the very life of these children, you are a gift to the children under your care, and that you have the power to transform, change their life, impact their life, and influence their life in such a way that they will never forget you, then you will begin to do your job differently. And I also said that in a quote that it is the man that makes the job, it is not the job that makes the man. So we have poor engineers, we have poor lawyers, we have poor doctors, we have poor politicians, we have rich doctors, rich engineers, rich carpenters, poor carpenters. So it's really not about the job, but it's about you as an individual, how you go about your job, how far you want to take the job, your career, how well you want to go do your job and get better on the job. Right? So we're talking about the teacher as a co-creator with God. And I want to connect how you as a teacher is a co-creator with God. How you as a teacher is a co-creator with God. Okay, so now when we talk about you being a co-creator with God, it captures two key areas. It captures two key areas. How you connect to being a co-creator with God. The power that you possess as a teacher. Number one, we see God's love in action when He created the material world and man. In Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26, He said, let us make man in our own image. Let us make man in our own image and after our own likeness. So God created the material world and created man. And in verse 28 of Genesis chapter 1, the Bible said that, and God blessed man and said to man, He said, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue and have dominion. God blessed man. That is one. And that practically tells me that every child has potential, because in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, the Bible says that God blessed man. And so every human being has potential. So how do we connect it to our role as teachers? Excuse me. Now, that means that every child has the potential to become somebody in life. And every child has the potential to learn. Number two, we see God redeem fallen humanity through the person and work of Christ in Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 5, where it says that we're dead in our trespasses, but we have been made alive in Christ Jesus. So this is to say that even the low-performing and special needs pupils possess potentials and are redeemable. Even the low-performing and special needs pupils possess potentials and are redeemable. So you see, the first time in Genesis 1:28, God blessed man and everybody has been endowed, everybody is gifted. Whether you can see it externally or not, everybody is endowed. You see, the thing about potential is this. Potential is like an iceberg. What you see at the tip is nothing to compare to what is beneath. And so sometimes we tend to just look at the external gifts that these children have and we stop there. And then some children, their gifts are not so obvious. And then we think that those children are not gifted or they are not endowed or they don't even have potential for anything. But no, potentials can be innate. So we have external, we have the obvious one, and we have the innate potential, and every child possesses that. So the teacher stands as a co-creator with God because God blessed man and now gave us this role. And that's why I say being a co-creator with God simply infers that your role avails you the honor, the power, and opportunity to facilitate destinies and participate in grooming and nurturing potential into reality. So God has blessed man and God has placed you now to continue the work that he has done because those potentials are resident in these children, and your unique job, the way it is structured, the way your work, as a teacher, the role you play is structured is to groom those children and call for those potential, give them the opportunity to turn those potentials into reality. And the second part is where I talked about even low performing students and pupils possess potentials as well and are redeemable because man is God's prized creation. Man is God's prized creation. God made man just like himself and endowed man just like himself, because in that scripture in Genesis chapter 1 verse 20 it said, and have dominion, which is the mandate that has been given to man. So I just wanted to share that with you for you to see how powerful you are and how endowed you are. Now, so just understand that because you are a co-creator with God, or the way your role is as a teacher, you become a co-creator with God to facilitate destiny. That's a powerful one. To facilitate destinies, you participate in fulfilling God's purpose in the lives of these kids. Now, I can't forget my teachers, especially the ones that taught me in primary school. I don't know why it's the primary school teachers that are so vivid on my mind. But I remember my primary school teachers so much because of who they were to me, how they treated me, not just teaching me, but going beyond teaching to establish a relationship with me. I can remember their name, Mr. Kofi. Funny enough, I was taught by expatriates. Mr. Kofi from Ghana. I had Mrs. Cruz from the Philippines. I had Mrs. Naidu from India. I also remember my headmistress at that point, Mrs. Udano. She's just a wonderful educator. How come I've not forgotten these people? I've spent over 4 decades on this earth, but I still remember these precious humans that came into my life at the foundational stage, impacted me, influenced me so much that I owe who I am today and what I've become to them. And that's how important you are, because the greatest investment you can make is not in properties. The greatest investment you can make is not in a business, but in humans. That's the greatest investment. The rewards are unending. The rewards go beyond earth. And, they follow you, they go with you, and you partake of it even beyond this place. So I want you to begin to see yourself as a very important person, a VIP, and look at your role as the greatest thing that has ever happened to you, because that change in mindset will affect your work positively. And that is all of this I'm saying is going to where what is expected of you, and so that your children can succeed. The children under you can succeed. You are a co-creator with God, and that is powerful. God is counting on you to call for those potentials out of these children. God is counting on you to see beyond the eyes, beyond your physical eyes, into those children, to see what they are capable of, and trust Him for the wisdom to be able to help them realize it. So you are a co-creator with God. Man is blessed already. You stand before the children as a blessing as well, to help them realize that potential. And even the ones that are reaching up, even the children that are special, the ones that are low performing pupils in class, the low flyers, you can still redeem them. You can still help them, because they possess potentials as well. I will talk to you about the psychology of how children learn. The psychology, we are all educators here and teachers, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm going to just remind you about how children learn, so that I can share the next thing I desire to share with you. And the question I want you to ask is, or the question we want to answer at this point is, how do children learn and process information? How do children learn and process information? Now you know how wonderful and valuable you are. The next thing is, you need to understand, how these children learn. Because if you don't understand how they learn, you can't help them. You can't help them, right? So what are the factors that affect learning outcomes? There are quite a number of factors that affect learning outcomes, like the social factor, the emotional factor, and then you have, intelligence, the environment. All of that affect the outcome, the learning outcome of children. But I'm focusing on one major one that I believe that if teachers can just switch in their thinking and do the needful along this line, they will get good results. Over and over and over and over again, you'll be able to produce good results with your children. And when I say good results, I'm not talking about their marks. No, I'm talking about the children learning. Eventually, there's a change in behavior. Now, of all of these learning outcomes, gladly, it is not just intelligence. It is not just intelligence that affects the learning outcome of children. It's not just their intelligence, because sometimes we can get it wrong, even as educators, and we just class this child as intelligent. This one is not intelligent, and so because this one is not intelligent, nothing can come out of him, nothing can come out of her. Now, one of the major points I don't want you to forget here is that all children have potential to learn. All. We're all born blank into this world. We didn't come with any kind of knowledge. We came in blank. So all of us are starting from ground zero. These children are not different. Just like you started from ground zero, so these children also starting from ground zero. So, but this is the truth, that all children have the potential to learn. All children have the potential to learn. All children can learn. All kids can learn. All of them. All of them. Think about all kinds. I don't know what kind of children you have in your classroom, but they are always of diverse abilities and behaviors and skills. Just begin to think about every one of them, the good, in quote, the one that you have labeled not so good. All of them can learn. But a key factor to children's learning is motivation and their self-esteem. That's why I blew it up in capital letters. A key factor of all of these factors, one of the key factors to children's learning is motivation and self-esteem. So a teacher's expectation of and belief about their pupils and what they can achieve have a great impact on their learning and progress. This is so true, because even apart from you being a teacher, and we're talking about these children, as an individual, as a human being, when somebody believes in you, it sparks up possibilities in you. When somebody cares about you, and when somebody trusts you, when anybody, the people you are most endeared to are those people that believe in you. Your greatest season of possibilities and results are those seasons where you are highly motivated. True or true? You will agree with me that is true. So you see, when we flip it over, to these children, your expectation of and belief about your pupils or your students and what they can achieve have a great impact on their learning and progress. And that's why I came from where I came from. I went on to start telling you that these children have great potentials based on what God has deposited in them. They have great potentials, and great potentials to learn, not just the gifts that has been given to them, but the ability to, begin to express those gifts, the ability to turn those gifts into reality. The children have it if they are guided properly. All they need is for you to understand who you are as a teacher, to understand the role you play in their lives, to understand how valuable and important and how very valuable and important you are in their life. And when you grasp that, you will also begin to see yourself in that light, and then you begin to do the needful. Now, there's a quote by Roosevelt. He says, "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care." Your children are not different. Your children are not different. In other words, your children's their minds will not open up to learning until they know that you believe in them, until you inspire them on a daily basis to try, until you tell them what they can't see about themselves, until you're able to discern their unique gifts, their unique abilities, their unique potentials, and let them know it, until you guide them and give them the necessary support to succeed. Their mind will never be open to all of the content that you want to load them with. Until you show them love, you inspire them, you motivate them, you tell them they can, and you boost their self-esteem. They can't understand what you're teaching and they can't assimilate it. They won't accept it. It happens to us as adults as well. Until we know that you people care about us, we don't care how much they know. We don't even care how much money they have, because we are humans. We are humans. And everyone at every stage in life, you're looking or expecting or desiring or you need that motivation, you need that inspiration so that you can move to the next level in your life. And that's the same thing with these children. So please, as a teacher, understand this. As a teacher, understand that. And this brings me to these very important points I want to share with you. How can you give the children the support they need to succeed? If now you know that you are important, your role is not as terrible as society says it is, and even though you are not well paid, even though your role is seen as, a low, unimportant, role in society, in your own mind, beyond all reasonable doubt, that you are filling a very important position and that your role is the most important. And you know that it's not all about the money, but it's all about you facilitating somebody else's destiny, you giving meaning and expression, helping a human being to become somebody And that has the greatest reward. I tell you, in this life and in the life to come. It may not come immediately, but it will surely come. It comes in diverse ways. It comes in diverse ways. So having known that, and then coming to understand just the short teaching I gave now on how children learn, with the key factor as motivation and self-esteem, I want to share with you how you can give children the support they need to succeed. To succeed. The support they need to succeed. Number one, clear your mind of all biases. Like I said earlier, if your mind is full of all kinds of biases about yourself and your job, you can't connect with the children. You will just be going to school every day, to the classroom. You'll be an ineffective teacher. You are not happy, and it will affect the job. So work on your mind first. And then the other bias now is concerning the children. You know, as a teacher, don't conclude that children from certain backgrounds, locality, or disabilities can't learn or do well. Sometimes teachers carry that bias. They think that if a child is from a poor background, the child can't do well, or the child is from a certain locality, you know, the child can't do well. I remember in school some time ago, I remember that my teachers, I was asking them about a particular pupil, and they mentioned to me the child wasn't doing very well in school, and the teachers went like this: he lives in one area of the city where my school is located that is termed like a slum. What are they saying in essence? They were saying because he's from the slum, the environment is not helping him, he's not doing well because he's from the slum. But that's not an excuse. Let's clear our minds of all biases, concluding that children from certain backgrounds cannot do it. I said earlier that all children can learn and they have potential. Number two, be careful not to freeze pupils at their last performance level, right? So a child that was a D student can become an A student. Was a D student or an E student last term or last school year, can become an A student this year. Let's look at one of the greatest teachers I admire her so much that, you know, ever lived is Ben Carson's mother. I don't know if you've heard the story of Ben Carson, you know, the successful neurosurgeon. I mean, he was doing so badly in school, no direction, you know, and all that. But the mother kept encouraging. He was doing really bad in school, but the mother did not give up on him, even though maybe in school the teachers and administrators had given up in him. She saw potential in her child. She saw Ben Carson as an A student, even though he was coming home with all of the E's and the D's and all of that, right? So please do not freeze these children at their last level of performance. I've seen children move from the back to the front in all aspects. Number three, be patient with your students. Be patient with your students. The Bible says that through faith and patience, you know, the elders obtained a good reward. Through faith and patience. So as a teacher, you need also to exercise faith and patience in your students, because through faith and patience, you can help their potential become reality. Through your faith and your patience, believing in them and being patient to go through the process with them, encouraging them, their potential can become a reality. Number four, have a high and positive expectation of them. I said that earlier, right? Because your expectation of that child can influence the pupil's performance seriously. When you begin to, you have a high expectation of the child and you share that expectation with the child will aim to live up to that expectation, especially when you have a good relationship with the child, when you show that you care, when you show that you care for the child beyond their academics, beyond the classroom, you connect with the child. Your action towards them it forms the students' belief about themselves. Because there's a way you think about a child. If you begin to think about a child as not being able or capable, you begin to act in that manner, towards them. Maybe you just neglect them, you just leave them out of so many things and show them that, look, I don't want to waste my time on you because I know I'm not going to get results. We are tended to do that. But you see, have a higher, no matter what, have a high and positive expectation about your pupils, because it influences their performance in school, and that will help them to develop a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. When you think the child is nothing, the child will say, after my teacher thinks I'm nothing, so why even try? Why make any effort? Number 5, create a warm, friendly, and safe environment for the children. Climate matters. The climate of the classroom matters. The climate affects children performance. It affects children behavior. So try and create a warm, friendly, and safe environment for all of your students. Let them feel safe. Do they feel safe in school? Do they feel safe in your classroom? I know some children don't want to come to school. They don't want to. You see, they cry at home. They tell their parents they don't want to come to school. Why? Because they have developed kind of a fear of their teacher. Maybe the way the teacher relates to them and does maybe even beat them. Not if the teacher is not nice to them. They don't want to come to school. So please create a warm, friendly, and safe environment for your pupils. Let them love to come to school. They want to come to school. Number 6, attend to all your pupils or students equally. Don't overlook some because they are not easy to teach. Yes, there are some children that are difficult, and that's why you have to keep developing yourself. Go for professional trainings and development, because that's one of the reasons why your self-esteem as a teacher is low. If you keep developing yourself, it would increase your confidence level, and you know what to do. You know exactly what to do. You know how to help your pupils. So attend to all your pupils. Attend to all the students equally. Don't show any form of favoritism. It will demotivate those children and it will hinder them from learning. Your input into their life should be equal. Your input into every child's life, it should be equal. Number 7, because time is spent, I don't want to spend extra time, so let me just run through it. Attend to all your, okay, that's number 6. Number 7, give everyone a chance to contribute in class. This is how to help your children, give them the support that they need, because some children are introverted, maybe personality, some also are not doing well, and so they are not confident enough to participate in class. They're thinking, why try? Because if I try, I'm not going to even give the answer anyway, so why try? But as a teacher, you don't ignore those children. You bring everybody into the classwork. You bring them into the activity that you're having. You engage all the children. And how do you do that? You allow them to contribute. You employ some kind of teaching strategies like cold calling and no opt option. You employ such. Some children don't want to answer questions. Those ones that will not raise their hands to answer. Those are the ones you call their names and ask them to answer the questions, right? So employ such strategies. We have the no opt option is all about you helping the child to answer the question. Maybe the child repeating the answer that you have given or the answer that his pair may have given, right? So give every child the opportunity to be part of it. As you do that, their confidence begins to grow and they begin to tell themselves, I can do it. Yes, it seems like I have it. And once they start believing in themselves, they'll start doing better. Then number 8, give your pupils meaningful feedback. Meaningful feedback. Let the feedback address misconceptions, because the child is in school to learn. And there is an atmosphere for learning. There is a structure for learning, that we need to understand. let the feedback address their misconceptions, and let the aim of the feedback be to build learning, further learning. Because if they don't know the behavior that is expected of them, then they cannot correct that behavior, or the behavior that they are not living up to. If they don't know it, they can't correct it. So let's be careful not to just give a blanket feedback like, oh, that's good, you are remarkable, that's impressive. No, give a detailed feedback about the work they're doing and the things that they might have been missing, and opportunities. Give them opportunities to correct themselves as well. Let them know the what they are doing well, and let them know what they are missing and how they can correct themselves. Those feedbacks have a way of building learning and also, building their self-esteem as well, right? Then number 9 is so important. Let's learn to praise our pupils, our children. Let's learn. Praise can never be, you can't praise a child enough. Growing up, I grew up under parents that felt that praise was not it wasn't good. It wasn't good for a child, because they felt that if you praise a child, even when the child does well, the child will relax. How can you say that praise is not healthy for a human being, or praise is not healthy for the child? But I think that they were doing that based on their level of understanding. Being a parent right now, and I know that the best I can give to my children is to keep praising them, to keep praising their effort, to encourage them that they can do more and they can do better. In the same way, that will work a lot of magic in your classroom. Praise your children. Let your praise focus on their effort. Sometimes we hear teachers saying a lot of praise, or praise is not good for a child. Just like I just shared with you, I think is a myth. It's a myth that because we don't understand, how to give this praise, But then I'm saying that the best way to give praise is to direct that praise to the effort the children are making, not really their achievement. Praise the process. There's a process to any achievement. Rather focus on the process. In that way, we are praising everybody, because even the children that are not high achievers, they're also making some form of effort. They're trying. If they could do better, they will do better, right? If they could do better, if they can learn to do better, if you can support them with all I've shared with you, if you can give them the right atmosphere, the right environment, they will do better. So please recognize their little wins and support it. Yes, and praise those little wins on the process. On the process. Support those little wins along the line, not waiting for the achievements that they have scored one high, score, and at this time you want to praise them. No. So please, let's focus our praise on their effort, on the process, on their commitment to learning, and not necessarily focusing on the achievement. So in summary, I want to encourage you as a teacher, don't be weary, the Bible says, in well-doing. But for in due season, if you don't faint, you will reap. We might say this narrative has been on for long. We say you would receive our blessing in heaven. And I don't believe in that, because mindset is everything. Can you become a teacher that is different? Can you be unique as a teacher? Think differently, because if you think differently and think positively about your profession and how valuable you are and how powerful you are to be a co-creator with God, you will change the narrative and change the education sector. We don't need 1 million people to change things. One person can begin to change the circumstance, can begin to change the narrative. You can become that teacher with a difference. And as you do that, I'm telling you, your reward is here on earth and in heaven. You get your reward. Necessarily must not be money, but I tell you, eventually you will get all of the financial gains and resources that you anticipate. These children are wonderful creatures of God. God is counting on you and I to give them all of our attention and do our best so that they can be all that God has created them to be. I hope that I've been able to inspire you in this short time, and well done for all you do as a teacher. Thank you, Mentor Goodness, again for this opportunity. Thank you for all you do. The Lord bless you.